AUKUS if they ever had it. It is time that the government is transparent on the risks to the delivery of AUKUS and how they are going to address them and how they're going to keep Australians safe. The government's first duty is to protect its people. Defence is one of the most important issues facing our country in this ever-changing world. The cornerstone of the Morrison's government and now the Albanese government's future defence strategy has been AUKUS. Now, I have real questions about whether the AUKUS nuclear submarine program was really, truly what Australia needs for its future. But putting those concerns aside, some submarines are better than no submarines. But it seems that there is a significant danger that we will not have the submarines that we need, both in terms of the Virginia-class submarines, the AUKUS-class submarines, and capability gaps emerging in our Collins-class submarines, which means that we may be significantly underprepared in this area. This is no way to run a defence force. So let's look at the evidence. There are three key elements of the Australian submarine program. Firstly, continuing the Collins-class submarines over a period of time to bridge gaps. Secondly, the purchasing of Virginia-class submarines, nuclear-powered submarines, before we get the AUKUS submarines. And thirdly, the SSN AUKUS submarines. Each of those three elements is currently experiencing significant problems. Let's look firstly at the Collins-class submarine. The recent ANAO report was scathing about the current ability of the submarines, of the Collins-class submarines' extension of life program. There are real concerns about what we're going to get and our ability to deliver it and the costs that these are going to be. Secondly, let's look at the Virginia-class submarines. The USA is continuing to deliver submarines at around half the rate that is required for the President to be able to sign off that submarines given to Australia are not a reduction in capability for the USA's own capabilities. The President has that ability not to fulfil the Australians' commitment to the Australian government on the basis of that issue, but the USA is not producing submarines at the rate that means that the President can, in good faith, sign off on assigning Virginia-class submarines to Australia. Just over the weekend, the government has now agreed with the US that we're not going to get one new Virginia-class submarine. We're actually going to get 3 second-hand submarines. My question to the government, if that was such a great idea, if that was such an important strategic pivot, why didn't you work this out 3 years ago? It's hard to believe that this is actually what Australia wants. It feels very much like we are being dictated terms by the US. The US has undertaken the Colby review of the AUKUS arrangement. However, Australia, and apparently this is going to there are recommendations in the Colby review which do alter our arrangements with the US, but we don't know, and the Australian Parliament doesn't know, and certainly the Australian people don't know what those recommendations were and how that affects AUKUS in this country. Then let's move to the SSN AUKUS boats. A recent UK parliamentary committee has warned that Britain risks at being unable to meet its obligations under AUKUS because of the risk to the SSN AUKUS boats. The real question is, we have all the elements of the Australian submarine strategy at risk right now, all of them, and we have had reassurances from the government, from previous governments, that this is in our interest, this is in Australia's interest, and this is setting us up for the future. All three are under significant strain right now. It is time for the government to be honest about that, to be transparent about the risks, and to be clear on how it is going to mitigate those risks. There are other options to submarines. They are not that great. It is better to have submarines. But given the real risks to the delivery timescales, as well as the delivery costs of this program, it is up to the Australian government to be transparent and honest about this. This is why you are seeing people like the former head of the Australian Defence Forces, the former Admiral Barry, get behind a public inquiry onto Aukus, because there is so little faith in the public about Aukus, both its original strategic intent but absolutely right now on whether it can be delivered. It is up to the government to be transparent to the Australian people. There are problems there. We know that. We can read the news. It is time for the government to be honest about that and how it is going to keep Australians safe into the future.